most about Wallace is this vision that you have for a better life, a better community, how you all work together, your passions assist each other, and to come together as a community to raise our residents up really inspires me. As a newcomer here, what sets it apart and what I value most is your sense of community, your family values, your work ethic. As some of you know, I'm come from a small town similar to Wallace in upstate New York. And working with the USDA programs, it was a rural community as well. So working with the USDA programs and with government programs, coming together, not so much as just the town of Ballston Spa, but as Saratoga County, incorporating Malta, Clifton Park, we created something that was just truly amazing. And my goal and aspiration for your community is the same type of transformation. 25 years ago, when my husband and I moved to Ballston Spa, we were just two kids, and we found this cute little Victorian house in the middle of nowhere, and we just loved it. And so, you know, we moved into this cute little house and then took a walk down the street. And what we saw was some, you know, things that were somewhat similar here. We had a loss in manufacturing. Our manufacturing went to North Carolina. We had growth in some areas, but complete lack in others. We had larger companies and pulling businesses away from Saratoga County and industry away from Saratoga County. And so that left workers and people without jobs. Our schools were really struggling. And in fact, I shared this story today with Randall, but when we went to enroll our daughter in school, her elementary school had asbestos-lined pipes at a level where a fifth grader could jump up and pull the asbestos down. There were light bulbs hanging from the ceilings. There was a radiator heater that, you know, a child could fall down a flight of stairs and land right into. And that was her schools. We ranked pretty low in the state. And it was, you know, it was horrifying. And we had a 5-year-old daughter that we moved in August. We were enrolling her for school. Fortunately, we found for her a little Catholic school and a private school, which many of our residents here tend to do, find a private school to send our children to get a better education. But then a group of us just got together and said, it just isn't right. You can see from the bones of the town, and just like you can see from the bones of Wallace, that this was a thriving community, that there was manufacturing. You can tell from the bones of the people and the amount of work that they do and their work ethic, that these are people who aren't afraid to work. They aren't afraid to get dirty. And yet there were no jobs for them. And the jobs that were there were you know, poorly paying jobs. So a group of us did get together and we made some noise. We made some big noise. We petitioned, no offense, Randy, you will get some phone calls now. We petitioned our state and said that it wasn't all right. We had a huge drug problem and a huge alcohol problem, a domestic violence problem, and we petitioned to get better resources and community resources for our town. We had teenage children who didn't have a place to go after school, or small children who didn't have affordable daycare and access to good daycare. And we raised it there. We created Even Start programs. We created a community that we went out, and it's very difficult for economic development to come out and pitch this community when you don't have a thriving workforce or you don't have a good school system. We got behind our teachers in a big way and made their job considered and their position the most valuable asset our community had to offer. We created parks, we created recreational centers, we created after-school programs, and we created a better community. And if any of you look into Saratoga County today, and we did it together. We didn't just do it as the town of Ballston Spa or the town of Malta or the town of Clifton Park. Clifton Park was a field. We took our community and pulled it together as one. And by doing that, we created, if you look up Saratoga County today, it is one of the most thriving communities in the state of New York. Our school that my daughter could not attend, she graduated from a state-of-the-art high school, funded federally by federal dollars. By building the high school, we were able to elevate the middle school, the elementary school, and a preschool. So I know it can be done, and I wish the same for you. In terms of the conversations with Randy, Cam said I called him a month multiple of times. That part isn't true. I left a message for Randy with one of his coworkers, and he called me right back. And that is one of the things that people don't understand. The USDA Department of Rural Development is here for you. They are here to help you. They are here to help you write grants. They have people that will come and assist you to get the resources that you feel as a community are needed. So it is not some crazy place far away where you're going to get an answering machine and no response. They are real people, and their goal is to assist you. They are public servants, and they serve our community. So my goal is to bring them to you, to show them that they're real people, skin and flesh and bones. They have real aspirations, and they have real goals for Wallace, and they want to see it succeed. And so with that, I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to hand you right over to Randy, and he's going to give you some information on programs, grants, loans that are available to you.
Let me say good afternoon to all of you, and thanks Julie and Cam for inviting us here to Duplin County. I am the State Director for Rural Development here in North Carolina. I was appointed back in October of 2009 by President Barack Obama, and it's been my privilege to serve rural North Carolina since 2009. I'll tell you that I do hail from Brunswick County, so I'm familiar with these parts, and just so you know that I am, I will tell you that I grew up selling feeder pigs to Wells livestock operators. So I know Wells, I know a little bit about this place, right? I played high school football against East Duplin here, right? You love your football team here, East Duplin and Wallace Road. I used to sell cucumbers and other produce over in Mount Olive at the Kate's Pickle place over there. So back in those days when I was traveling, there was Highway 117 that took me over there. And I also sold green up until last year, because I still farm about 250 acres over in Brunswick County. So I sold green up until last year with the Murphy Family Farm. So I'm familiar with this area. And I saw Commissioner Tate from Pender County. I would tell you that from May of 1987 until November of the same year, I worked in Pender County with Farmers Home Administration. So I'm no stranger to these parts. And I tell folks that all you got to do is allow the wind to blow, and I'll have east from Raleigh. I love eastern North Carolina. A little bit about some of the things we've been able to accomplish since I became State Director. I will tell you that since 2009, we've been able to deliver about $7.9 billion to the state of North Carolina. About $7.9 billion. And we tell folks that literally we can build a community from the ground up. If there's anything you need that's going to enhance and improve the quality of life for rural citizens across rural North Carolina, and across rural America, no doubt we can do it. We administer about 43 different programs. And we're real proud of what we've been able to do. Most of those dollars, about half of them, if you will, has gone into our housing program. In large measure, it's been a program that we've administered where conventional lenders were extending credit, and we were providing a 90% loan note guarantee to those houses, for those homes. So about $4 billion has gone into our housing program, and then the other, about 3.9 has gone into clean water and sewer, to business and industry, to broadband projects, for telemedicine. We had a relationship here in Duplin County where now you guys, if you don't want to have to go all the way to East Carolina, if you don't want to go to Durham or Chapel Hill, if you have one of your loved ones in the hospital here, you can virtually have a physician, a specialist in East Carolina that's working with your general practitioner right here in Duplin County. So we did that with our telemedicine program. Again, we administer 43 different programs, and we tend to think there's absolutely nothing we can't do that's going to alleviate stress and strain on rural communities. I see the police officer sitting here. If you need a police station, we can finance a police station. That's the kind of thing that Kim's been doing across eastern North Carolina. We can finance town halls for any of the smaller communities other than Wallace that's represented here today. We can finance a town hall for you. We can finance a charter school. We can finance a public school. We can finance a library, a clinic. If you name it, if you need it, it is essential to your community to enhance and improve the quality of life for your citizens. We can finance it, no doubt. One of the things I know about Duplin County, one of the things I know about North Carolina, we're second only to Iowa as it relates to swine production. And the largest number of hogs produced is right here in Duplin County for this state. I know that can be a low-lying area with a high water table. And so I tell folks, I really tell folks this, I think it's just as important for the citizens of Duplin County to have good quality drinking water, Julie, as it is for the folk in New York City, or for the folk in Charlotte, North Carolina, or Durham, North Carolina. It's that important, it's that critical. We also have what we call a broadband program. And I'm going to talk specifically about some of our programs, the ones that I think you can derive some early benefits from, and then Kim and Elma, they're going to talk about some of the things they're primarily responsible for here in this area. But one of the programs that I feel real good about that we've been able to help is a broadband program. Literally, where I grew up down in the Charlotte, there's the Atlantic Telephone Membership Corporation. We made them a loan and grant combination, and they literally extended broadband communication, high-speed internet service all along that South Carolina border through the place called Old Dock, around by Fair Bluff, and Tabor City, and all the way over to Red Springs. And Red Springs then hooked up and provided back down to Maxton and further east, heading the other way toward Anson County. So here's the thing. In a time like this, when you're out here producing agriculture products and creating agricultural wares, if you will, you need to be able to sell your wares in real time rather than dial-up time. Our kids, if they're going to compete in the global market, they should have, if you live, let's just say you live in Charlotte on the east side, and you're able to do a homework assignment, you're able to Google all this information to a point east of Charlotte, but then you move a little further away from Charlotte and there's no high-speed internet. How in the world can you expect that kid that could not gain access tonight to come in and compete with those kids that had the ability to tap into all that information overnight? So those are the kinds of things we're trying to do, is to make sure that our kids in rural areas have all the same privileges and rights and abilities as a kid would have in the metropolitan areas across North Carolina or across the country for that matter. Those are just some of the things we're doing. Now, for some of you folks that are interested in either acquiring a home, or if you've got a son or a daughter, if you've got a niece or a nephew, if you've got a first cousin that's got a son or a daughter, we have what we call our guaranteed housing program. And Elma may talk more about this, but it's a guaranteed housing program. And let's just say that first time person wants to buy a 1,800 or 2,400 square foot house. This house is going to cost them $180,000 to $225,000. They come into the bank, and the bank may say that, listen, I would love to make you a loan, but I see some things that cause me a little bit of concern. I would love to have the Department of Agriculture to my back in case if this thing goes south. I got somebody that's going to break the fall. So we're going to provide that bank with a 90% loan, no guarantee. They're going to extend to your niece or to your daughter or to your son 100% loan, right? Now, if you come in, that's for folks that are in the moderate income bracket or folks that are in the low income bracket with little or no debt. So now if you've got a very low income situation, or if you've got a low income situation with a little bit more debt, then we have dollars that are appropriated every year to us by Congress, and we administer those dollars through our direct housing program. And so in some cases we may find that a family would need some subsidy. So we can literally finance a loan at a 1% interest rate, while the prevailing rate may be, what, 4.5 right now? You know, 4.5. The highest the interest rate would ever be is 4.5, but we can do it at 1%, which means that we're subsidizing this loan until this family is in a position they can pay the full note rate. So in other words, if you're financing a $150,000 house, and the payment, the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, let's just say is $1,000 a month, based on your household income, you might very well be paying $780. So the government's paying the difference until such time as your household finances improve and then you get the full note rate. So that's a way of helping folks to acquire homes in Duplin County and surrounding counties. Another program that we administer is our 504 loan and grant program. This is for people that currently own their homes. So if you have an elderly person out here that's age 62 and above, we can do up to $7,500 in the way of a grant to help them to put in new HVAC system. We can help put in ramps. We can replace rotten floors. We can put in on new shingles, windows and doors, whatever it needs to make this house comfortable, and rid it of anything that would render that house unsafe or sanitary. We can alleviate, we can remove those conditions, so now this person's got a good and comfortable home. So for a person that's age 62 and above, we can do up to $7,500 in the way of a grant, one-time grant, and in addition to that, we can do $20,000 at 1% interest rate over a 20-year period, with a payment of about $4.60 per thousand. So it's less than $100 a month in the way of a payment if a person came into us was age 62 and above and got the full $27,500. You can't hardly beat that. It's a way of keeping folk in their homes. And for all of these mayors and others, county commissioners and others, you know, it's important to have a good tax base and to have homes, good quality homes throughout your county. So we can help retain those homes. If a person's less than age 62, they can only qualify for the $20,000 loan at 1% if they're in a very low income bracket. So that's the way we're trying to help folks with our housing program. Now, I will tell you that, quite frankly, I'm impressed with Duplin County. I really am. I'm probably older than some of you think I am, and you probably already have dated me some based on what I told you I did when I was growing up as a youngster, coming down 117. But I remember when Highway 40, Interstate 40 came around Wallace, and it was literally said that Wallace would drive on the vine. Well, you guys should be extremely proud of what you've done for yourselves. I see as you get off of Interstate 40 on the Highway 24, all the growth there. You get off on 41, I see the growth there. You get off on 11, I see the growth. And I suppose at some point, all of you would want to harken back to the area that was Wallace for all those years, and that's that corridor, that 117. And so that's been the discussion between Julie and Cam and myself. And that's the area that if any of you have a desire to go to and try to stimulate growth there, that's what we're going to be interested in trying to help you do. And of course, any of the rest of the hinterlands, the bucolic areas of Duplin County, those areas that are truly agricultural, agrarian areas in Duplin County. I mean, I know in short order, if you keep going at this pace, this is going to be at least suburbs in a little while, if not metropolitan. But you're still going to be concerned about your folk that are further out on the countryside, if you will. And we're going to be concerned about them. And so we're going to be here to help you with those kinds of things. We have our state, just so you know how we try to administer these programs. In Raleigh, I'm the state director, and we have 4 program directors. We have a program director for business and industry, a guy by the name of Bruce Pleasant. That's the gentleman that Lisa answered to. Then we have Garland Burnett. He's our community programs director. He's responsible for our community facilities loan and grant program, as well as our water and waste program, Garland Burnett. Then we have a lady by the name of Beverly Casey. She's responsible for all of our multifamily housing properties. And then we have a gentleman by the name of William Kinney, who's responsible for all of our single-family housing programs. And then across the state itself, we have the state divided into 6 different districts or areas. We have Area 1, it's in Asheville. Then we have Area 2 in Shelby. We have Area 3 in Lumberton. We have Area 4 in Asheboro. We have Area 5 in Henderson, and then Area 6 is Kinston. And I think right now, Duplin County falls under Elma in Area 6, and Commissioner Tate, I think Pender County is now back with Rossi out of Lumberton. And so one of the reasons I'm proud of you is because one of the things that we've been trying to do is, and we've been told by this administration and by the Secretary of Vilsack, that we have this goal. It's called 2016. So by the year 2016, 20% of our dollars will go in areas where poverty is greater than 20%. And so what they've done is they've identified certain places that have all of those economic indicators, that demographic information, where you got low, median household income, you got high teen pregnancy, high teen dropout, and all those other things that would suggest that real help is needed there, and poverty persists. We've identified those places as a strike force community, and that's one of the things I was asking Elmer, and I know now that you don't have that designation. You're not a strike force community, which means that you have already lifted yourselves up some, and so you may need some help, but you don't need help to the extent some of the other places in Eastern North Carolina may still need help. And so these brochures, I was only able to bring about 10 or so with me, and I'm hoping that some of you will be able to pick them up. And the reason I have them with me to begin with is because when I left the office, my public information coordinator, Delene Johnson, and my secretary, Gay, sent me with these packages because I'm to be in Henderson on Wednesday, and so I couldn't afford to leave y'all with all these packages because they expect me to have these packages when I get to the strike force areas, and that's going to be places like Vance County and Granville County, Franklin County, Warren County. You'd be surprised to know, although they're along Interstate 85, and you would think they were flourishing, but not so. They are struggling counties along those areas, and so that's where we're going to be on Wednesday, trying to identify some of their needs there as well. Again, I've told you some of the numbers that we've been able to accomplish here in North Carolina, and we're like that old Negro spiritual. We're in no ways tired yet. We're gonna keep pounding and the turf. We're gonna keep pounding out here until hopefully for me, January of 2017. I'm not gonna let up, not one bit. I'm gonna make sure that we're there to identify with you and identify what those needs are. And what I will do, as Julie said I would, I'll give you 3 things that may help you if any of you are taking notes. If not, Cam, hopefully this will be a part of your recordings. If you go to our website, it's www.rur, that's rural, dev.usda.gov, and you'll be able to see all of our programs there. That website will also show you how we have the state divided. Now, my email address is randy.gore@nc.usda.gov. And our base number in Raleigh is 919-873-2015. And so if you call that number, whoever will pick up the phone, you just ask them to transfer. If you're interested in a housing program, you say, transfer me to your housing division. If you're interested in our business and industry program, you simply ask that you be transferred to our business and industry division. The same thing for our multifamily housing, and the same thing for our community facilities loan and grant programs. So although I'm not able to leave all of you with a copy of the brochure here, I will leave as many as we have. But that's the contact information you need to reach us. And Elma and Kim will be speaking soon, and they'll drill down and give you their numbers, and Lisa will do the same. So with that said, I'm going to let Elma speak, and we're all going to be around for whatever questions you may have later. Thanks for having me down here.
Thanks, Randy, and let me say thank you for coming and thank you for inviting us. Again, my name is Elmer Langston. I have a responsibility for delivering the rural development program for 17 counties, and Duplin happened to be one of those counties. Now, if you start in Duplin and go to Wayne County and keep going north to Green, Pitt, all the way up to Bertie, and you make a right-hand turn and go all the way up to Dare County, and come on back around to Little Washington, Chacorenity, and back to Carteret County, and down to Oslo and back to Kinston, you will cover my 17 counties. Once again, we have several programs in the county office, and let me say this, and this is not to sidestep the state director. If you do have a question about housing, about water and waste, or community facilities, we would ask that you first call the local office, which is 252-526-9799, extension 5. Now, if you can't get a hold of us, then do call the state office. Okay. The other thing I want to say is this now, I'm not as old as I look. But Kim, over the last few years, they put a lot of miles on me. This is why my hair is like cotton here. Okay. Let me say also that Randy mentioned that we do have 3 housing programs in Area 6, which is the 502, 504 program. This is called our direct program, and we have the guaranteed housing. Those individuals who are making probably up to $50,000 could probably qualify in the guaranteed program. I see some realtors that's out there, so you probably know about the program. And that program, you go directly to a bank for that, for housing. Now, I'm not sure exactly what the cutoff in terms of the amount of loan there, but I think it's going to be based on the repayment ability, okay? In addition to the 502 and 504 program, we have what we call the mother-family housing program. This is almost like an apartment complex, so we do have those in every county that we have, all 17 counties. We have a young lady, Ann Sherrill, in our area office that handle that program. As a matter of fact, we got several apartment complexes in Wallace, I think, and but it is a good program. In addition to that, and I'm just going to talk about the water and waste program, we have what we call our infrastructure program. This is the water and waste program in the community facility. Now, Kim Miller here is my expert on the community facility program, and she will come and talk with you about the fire trucks and the administration buildings and schools and things that we can finance. But I want to talk just a little bit about the water and waste program that we have. To make a long story short, we got 3 projects going in in Newton County now. I think one in Kingsville, one is in Warsaw, and Magnolia, I think it is. These are water and waste projects. I think one is sewer and the other one is water, and the other one may be a building. But anyway, for those small towns and cities, small cities, we can help with the infrastructure in terms of putting in water and sewer. Now, one of the requirements that we have here is that we're going to improve you in terms of getting quality water, have some place to send the waste, okay? As we increase in population, these things become very, very important. We have water and waste projects in all 17 counties. As a matter of fact, we had the biggest one we got right now going is in Oslo, and that's about 34 million. But we can go right on up in the large numbers there. As a matter of fact, over in Lenore County a few years ago, we did a $100 million water and sewer project. Now, I didn't do that project, that was my predecessor, and maybe some of you may know him, Ed Causey. But anyway, he worked that program, and we got the water project over there that serves just about half of Lenore County. But those are some of the things we can do there. The other thing I want to say here is that anytime you need us, and let me say this, if you understand what I get ready to say here, we may not be able to help all of you, but we are certainly going to try, okay? Anytime you need us, give us a call. Now, I'm going to jump back to the 504 program for just a little bit here. As Randy said, we do have a program that can help the very, very poor, and some of those elderly citizens that we have, when they can't help themselves in terms of putting on a roof, putting in windows, floors, upgrading installation of the house. We can come in and help. $7,500 won't go a long way, but will certainly cover a lot of those things. And this has been one of the ways that we can kind of keep them out of the nursing home. And for a lot of the seniors, this is a big thing, you know, if you can spend the quality years at home rather than someplace, a strange place, it's a lot better for you. And then he mentioned that we had the 502 program, that if you had your children, or children's children out there that's looking to build a house, this is a 100% program here where you don't have to have a down payment. This is the direct program, so when you come to us, we will evaluate the application, and then we would go as far as we can go with it, and if the credit is good, then we're going to go with it. But keep in mind, the credit does not have to be perfect, but it does need to be reasonable, which indicates to us that you will pay when you're supposed to pay. If that is the case, then more than likely we're going to work with you. Again, in the low program, you don't have to be making tons of money, but somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000, maybe a little less than that, we may be able to help. Guarantee program, I get that a little bit before, but again, this is a program that we have used in all over the state here. Randy mentioned last year that we did over $1 billion in loan money in the state of North Carolina, and 3/4 of that came from our housing program. Water and waste program, we did, I want to say, about $80 million. But if you go back and look at the portfolio for Area 6, we lead the state, and right now I'm not going to brag on this though, but we are probably $100 million ahead of anybody else in the state in terms of area, in terms of helping people with the infrastructure around water and waste and community facility. This is not bragging, this is facts, and we have the numbers to back it up. It's getting close to rating time, so I want to make sure you hear that. But at any rate, here, though, in any way that you think we might be able to help, let us know, and be sure to contact the area office first. Again, that number is 252-526-9799, and extension 544. Someone will answer the phone. If you can't get a hold of us, then go to the second step and go to the state office. Okay? Now, having said that, I'm going to ask Ms. Kim Miller, who has worked this county very diligently, and she has financed fire trucks and police stations, community facility building all over Duplin County. So with that, having said that, I'm going to ask Kim to come up and say a few words.
Oh yeah, they know me, they'll hear me. I'm a Duplin County girl. I don't know that there's, I think 99% of y'all I know or I've worked with. Been doing the community facilities program for about 10 years. Duplin County is my home. I grew up in Albertson, went to East Duplin. We may have beat Wallace Rose Hill one time while I was in high school. But anyway, you know we do all the community facilities types of programs, the fire trucks, the police cars. And by the way, I don't appreciate a ticket on a police car I finance, but that has happened. Not in Duplin County District. Anyway, and the bad thing was I couldn't tell the officer we had done the police car. You know, I had to just take the ticket and go home. But anyway, we do all those facilities. We do the community buildings. We do schools. We did Sampson County schools. We did 3 high schools and elementary school. I know everybody in Duplin County. I've had some conversations with different folks. I know we've got a need for schools here. I know there's varying opinions on schools and what we need to do when, but our state director is encouraging us. We've got money now. We need to make these big loans. In 2 or 3 years, we may not have the $50 million allotment to do a $30 million, $40 million school. We don't know. So a lot of you have my personal cell phone. I don't have a government phone. That's perfectly fine. Wherever I'm at, I do get in trouble when I wear fire department shirt from Lenore County into Duplin County. Y'all don't like that for some reason, but I don't have a Wallace shirt. I'm just going to go ahead and tell y'all. That's okay. I'm a woman. I would rather fuss about those things, man. But you know, we do all those types of facilities, and that's what I'm here to do. I don't mind you calling me at night. I have fire departments that call me during their monthly meeting nights at 8 o'clock at night. You know, I'm watching TV. We got a board meeting. We need to ask you questions. That's what I'm here for. If you've got these needs, give me a call. As I told somebody the other week, there's not a lot of grant dollars in this program. I got my hand slapped a few months ago because I took all of the state's money and put it in our area. But guess what? If the other areas are not going to jump in and get it, Mr. Boar, I'm ready to take the rest of what you got right now. Let's put it back in our communities. Let's help our citizens, and let's do the things that we need to do. These are your tax dollars. You know, let's put them back to work in our communities. Let's not give them to, well, the western part of the state's okay, but I'd rather have everything here. So, you know, if you've got a need, call me. Any community facility type project that's needed in the communities, we can do. Magnolia, I hadn't forgot you. We've been talking for years about a new town hall. It may not work this year for whatever reasons, for financing, for cost, or whatever. But she's on my list, and I see her wherever, and Mayor, we're going to get that one day. You know, I still got to work another 20 years. At least. So, you know, we want to do these things, and we tell folks, don't give up on us. That's what we're here to do. And we might not make it work today, but we're here to stick with you to see if we can help you. So as far as the community facilities program goes, I think it's the best. Some of the others, like to say the water and waste program is better, but, you know, you got to have us too. So call us and let us know. Like Elmer said, call the area office if we can help you. If we can't, that's what the state director's for. Sometimes he encourages me to think a little differently than what I might want to think, and that's great. So if you're not getting answers from us, that's certainly what they're there for in Raleigh. But, you know, I figured out we've done $40 million in 10 years in Duplin County. So if your town or community is not getting the help, then you need to call me. We just broke ground on a new station in Warsaw Fire Department. We are finally, thank the good Lord, going to break ground on Green Embers in another week or so. That's a group I've been working with for 8 years to get a station built. It is not a huge station, but it fits their needs. And, you know, you got volunteers that they're doing this on their own time. You know, call us. Let us come out and help you see if we can get these visions come to reality. But, so if you didn't know me, now you do, but just let me know if we can help you.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me okay? Because I'm not crazy about microphones either. My name is Lisa Noel, and what I do, I administer the business program specialist for the Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan Program. My territory is everything east of I-95. I work out of the Brunswick County office in Olivia, and I live in Wilmington. And I've been lived in Wilmington for about 10 years, and I've been working this job, I think, 3.5 years now. Up until Wilmington, I've always lived in a rural environment. And I moved from Ohio. For example, the minimum acreage you could buy is 5 acres, and that was just right outside of the Athens city limits. So, because there was just so much land and not enough people, we had to buy minimum acreage. And I remember, prior to this, I was a credit analyst, and I worked as a commercial lender for a bank. And I remember the first loan that I went out to, this person wanted to open up a video store. And I said, okay, that sounds great. And he wanted me to meet him at his house. And so I'm traveling down this road, and I don't even have cell phone service. I'm like, okay, this is great. And the road is like this, it's all cut out, and I'm swearing I'm on a cow path. And by the time I got there and met with him, he had dug out this road 3 miles by his own hands. And then I found out that he wanted to open up an X-ray video. In all seriousness, the Business and Industry Guaranteed Loan Program, we call it the BNI for short. We're all, you know, the government, we're all about acronyms. It's our flagship. It's been around for over 30 years. A lot of people don't know about it. People know about SBA guaranteed loan programs, but they don't know about the USDA. In the state of North Carolina, we are one of the top B&I programs in the country with allocation dollars, with a number of loans. So we really do push this program really hard. And the way it works is we guarantee loans for banks with the idea that a bank is going to go out to a rural community and they're going to work with rural businesses because they're going to have a USDA guarantee backing them up. So for example, we'll guarantee up to $5 million at 80%. And up to $10 million, we'll guarantee at 70%, and now they've lifted it, we can actually go up to $25 million. We can do a lot of different types of businesses, and we've done, Randy had mentioned charter schools, and also charter schools fall under the community facilities. We do retail, we do manufacturing, that's a logging business, veterinarian, hospital. We're right to build a project for dormitories, for university, wide range of projects. And one of the things that we will do that you can't do under the SBA is we will do investment property. So you can actually hold real estate income producing property, and we will guarantee a loan for investment property, although you're not the tenant. I don't know if you're all familiar with SBA, but SBA is all about owner occupancy. The type of loans that we will not do is, it's easier, we won't do racetracks, gambling facilities, golf courses, or anything that's going to go more into animal production, because we have a sister agency called Farm Service Agency, and they will be the ones that would actually work more from the farm aspect. But if somebody wanted to take, say, their chicken houses and they wanted to convert, take the chickens and wanted to process the meat, then we could go into some kind of a poultry building where they could process that. We have two main eligibility requirements. One of them is that the location has to be in an area that has less than 50,000 people. So in our vicinity, Wilmington is the only area that doesn't qualify. And also, and there's some areas of Jacksonville, but right here. So everything in Duplin County is going to qualify for a B&I from that aspect. The other thing is we're going to require that people have a little something into the game. We call it skin in the game. So if you're an existing business, it's going to be 10%, and if it's a startup, it'll be 20%. And we do startups. The easiest thing is to contact a bank, your credit union, and see if they have used our program. We will work with anybody. You don't have to be like a certified lender to work with our program. I'll be happy to walk into the steps they would have to do. And they can see the benefit from taking a guarantee, because you can sell the guarantee on the secondary market, and that's a whole other aspect where all of a sudden, they're putting on a loan, let's say for $1 million, and they're getting $800,000 back, and they can take $800,000 and start loaning it out again. So there's a lot of benefits to using our guarantee program. We can go with like real estate, we can take it out for 30 years. We can take equipment out 15 years, and we also do working capital loans out 7 years. I have my business cards with me. I can tell you I've got two different types of numbers you can reach me at. My cell number is 910-465-1557. And then the landline in the Bolivia office is 910-253-4448, and I'm at extension 108. And we'll be around here, so I'll be happy to answer any questions you all might have. Thank you.
Let me mention just one or two other things. That before I became state director, I was an area director similar to Elmer. I was in the central part of the state, if you will, up around Asheboro and Albemarle and those parts back there. Lisa mentioned that under the B&I program, the Business and Industry Program itself, that is their flagship program. We tend to think that our housing program is one of the programs that came with us. When we, in 1994-95, we were back prior to that, we were Farmers Home Administration. So in about 95, all of our farm portfolio went to FSA, and they became responsible for all of the agricultural production type stuff, and we got all these other 43 programs. And so when I was an area director, there's a small town in Stanley County called it's called Oakboro. If any of you ever heard of it. It's a small town there, probably not more than about 25, maybe 2,800 people. If you ever go there in the summer months, it has the largest celebration around the 4th of July of any place in the state. And if you go there like on a Friday night, it's kind of a town kind of like old Happy Days now. We went there with what we call an RBAG, which is administered under the Business and Industry Program, but it starts at the local, at the area office. So Elmo's got a young lady on his staff named Stephanie, that if you were interested in Julia, Cam, if you were interested in going into that 117 corridor, if you were interested in going there and putting in lightings along the streets or planters, or refurbishing the sidewalks, or doing anything to spruce up that downtown area so that you can attract businesses, we can do that with what we call an RBAG, a Rural Business Enterprise Grant. And we did that for the little town of Oakboro. And again, if you go there on Friday night, they have old cars back then that serve hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff, and music playing in the street. It really is pretty much like you would see from a scene in Happy Days. And so that's an RBAG program that there's a window that runs on a cycle. So you would probably start applying for it in about November, December, and we would start accepting applications in January. And those applications generally has to be in the state office by about the middle of March, and then we have to evaluate them. But they generally top out at about $75,000, and they do sometimes require a match for point purposes. So if you were able to get some CDBG funds, or whether you were going to use your power bill dollars for street improvement.